Hey guys, welcome back to the channel with more of The Expanse. This is season 3, episode 7, and it's the start of a new book. There's probably going to be a time jump. We'll catch up with a lot of our characters. It'll be curious to see where everybody is now. Secretary General Gillis, he exposed Aaron Wright, but then used it to save. He's basically using it to save his own legacy, and he's kind of just like he is a bobblehead and will listen to anybody, whoever spoke to him last. And yeah, it's kind of he's not suited to lead, so hopefully he's getting some pushback from the public. Maybe he gets to get pushed out, and maybe Christian gets to become Secretary General at some point. Meanwhile, Anna, curious where she's going. Maybe she went home. I hope she got to go home to her wife and child. Though I would also be very, very happy to see her. She was a very good character. Normally, I'm not the biggest fan of like religious characters, like the High Sparrow in Game of Thrones, but she was very, very fascinating and a lot of fun to watch. Curious to see if she is still there. I'm sure she went back to her family at some point. Maybe she came back to try to get Gillis to be a better leader. Still, I don't know. He's too selfish to be a good leader, I feel like. But maybe she can find a way to align his selfishness with being a good leader. So, like she did with the ending of this war. Meanwhile, Jewel Pierre Mao has been caught, so he will probably be able to give good information to Earth. And then the crew of the Rocinante, no longer the Pinus Contorta. They do not need to hide anymore. Curious what they're up to. Where they've been. Maybe they decided to go back to Tycho since Naomi and the rest of the crew, Naomi the first time with the protomolecule, but then the rest of the crew all agreed to go to him, to go to him to help stop the hybrids from getting to Mars. So yeah, Fred Johnson has the OPA, Fred Johnson, they're going to have a bigger role in the system-wide politics. The crew of the Rocinante, maybe they decided to rest there. Drummer, meanwhile, is working on the Nauvoo, which from the opening we saw was named the Behemoth. So I'm a little regretful that I saw that it was named the Behemoth. So I'm gonna chill on looking at the opening for a bit, just in case there are other spoilers. Because it would have been so much cooler if I found out. I feel like they were gonna make a big reveal about the name the Behemoth later on. And it got spoiled for me a little bit because of the opening. But yeah, the crew of the Rocinante, they probably dropped Prax off with May somewhere. I hope we get to see them again, though. Maybe we just mentioned where they are right now. Maybe they're in Tycho. Maybe they're, I don't know. Anyway, we also haven't even talked about the freaking thing coming off Venus. I don't even know what to call it. The protomolecule spaceship. Eros still, I guess. Maybe we could call it Julie. It's Julie's ship. Razorback 2. No, that sounds really bad. Speaking of which, what happens to the Razorback now? Is it evidence, or does it still technically belong to Jewel Pierre Mao until he waits trial? It's still technically his. Maybe the crew of the Rocinante gets to keep it because they have a close personal connection with Julie. Yeah. Wonder what happens to it. But yeah, I don't know what that ship, the protomolecule ship, is doing, what its goal is. Don't know if they'll finish dealing with it by the end of next season. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, guys, I'm excited to continue. If you want to watch the full reaction, you can check out Patreon in the link in the description below. Those people on Patreon are the reason why I can do this channel. I don't make nearly enough on ads. It's like $60 a month. So I almost said protomolecule. Patreons, people over on Patreon are the reason why I can continue doing this. And so thank you guys so much. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started.
But the arrest of the traitor Aaron Wright and the resignation of Secretary General Sorrento Gillis, whom we thank for his service, has given us the opportunity to choose a new future. We will choose peace. We must choose peace. For we have arrived at the dawn of a new era, and are witness to an event unlike anything else in the history of our species, Mars and the Belt, and dedicate ourselves to being one people with a shared purpose.
Whoa, 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 what the The ring? Is it a portal?
When I get back to Sirius, you're going to be banging a superstar.
Slingshot Maneo Young Espinosa has been setting records for the...
And now, breaking news of the ring.
A few months later. Whoa. That is incredible. No.
You're always off somewhere, do your thing, and I always wait here for you for come back, okay? You get tired of the wait. And your brother, he understand me,
Oh.
the real me.
Ouch.
He right here.
Stay safe for sorting out this superstar.
Ouch. Does this say urine? It does. No, He just Oh, I thought it was all by myself.
Whole belt gonna say 'em. And all man gonna know. I do this for you.
Gonna use the ring to his advantage.
A lot of people think you're special.
You're pretty stealthy.
Part of the job. You'll get used to it. Could we try that again? So a lot of people think you're special.
Well, I don't know about special.
A documentary.
Lucky, maybe.
The protomolecule killed so many, brought Earth and Mars to the brink of annihilation. You had a major effect on those events, and that led you to this, the ring. How does that make you feel?
Kind of makes me want a donut.
You're deflecting again.
It's not cheap or easy to maintain a ship like this.
Especially if it's not really yours.
Whoa, hold on there, darling.
He's just sliding it.
Legitimate salvage.
That's not what the Martians think.
Naomi's.
What happened to Naomi Nagata?
She's on the
She's on a leave of absence.
behemoth approaching the ring. Wow, they got her to work here. That's where she was leaving to.
On Tycho, that would get you 6 months in jail.
Come now, Belter. No, you be like those high and mighty inners you used to crew with.
Shuttle just dock where the fuck you be.
On my way.
Requesting permission to come aboard.
You're already here.
It's a tradition.
Can I say no?
No. You remember Mr.
Diogo.
Little shit. He has no place on this ship.
Doss wants him here.
UN civilian delegation to the ring. Anna. The heck's she doing out here?
Yeah, I actually couldn't find any records of you on a roll. In fact, you don't seem to have any official government records at all apart from a birth certificate.
Weird.
I did talk
Weird.
to some locals, though, and they told me about a guy who was also named Amos Burton, who was some sort of mob boss. But that couldn't be you, right? Because you left the city when you were 15.
He took his name.
So maybe it was
He took
like
the
a
name of a mob
relative.
boss. Yikes.
What is it going to take for you to get comfortable with me?
You being off the ship?
Is she trying to...
What are you doing right now?
This.
I bet you're one of those tough guys who gets really sentimental and chatty after sex.
I don't shit where I eat.
I had a feeling he was toying with her a little bit.
Dawes asked me to ask. He was very worried when he heard you got shot.
I had his name tattooed around the womb to remind me.
I forgot how funny you are. We both have orders to follow, which means
back off a little.
We have to work together.
Back to Mars since I was shipped out for Phoebe way back when.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of jealous.
Aww.
Thank you, by the way, for looking in on my family. That means a lot.
Your kid was sweet. I'm damn glad to be a Marine again. If I hadn't been reinstated, I don't know what I would have done.
You're always welcome here.
A skiff driver was free to put whatever he liked into his body. We all are. Until that freedom puts others at risk. Who is the dealer?
It's nice to see that Madame Avasarala is as good as her word. Donations have been rolling into the clinic. It's never been in better shape.
Wow.
And I have never felt worse.
Oh.
First.
This is James Holden. You watching him?
What about him?
Oh, he's out here. They're making a documentary about him.
No shit.
Yeah, he's got cameras following around his ship. I bet you 50. This reporter lady's knocking boots, bro. Hey, new girl. Like what you see?
Wouldn't rub up against that narcissistic asshole with your junk.
Pretty strong feeling. Wonder if they're gonna get together at some point.
The junction. Stanley, you take that.
Explosives. What's going on?
It's unusual to find green walls on a ship like this.
I call them Prax panels.
What's a Prax?
My best
He's
friend.
a botanist. He was my best friend in the whole world.
No.
Why didn't you go with him?
He didn't ask. He didn't have to. I'm not really the rebuilding type.
These uncertain time. I heard you shut down Monica. Does that mean I have a chance?
I don't shit where I eat.
Well, you live on a spaceship.
And I don't shit in the galley.
Whoa.
What are you doing? This one supplies him. I'm going to space him and make him watch in full view of the crew.
I have a word.
In a minute.
Now. Clear out, give
In
the
a
captain
minute.
a little goddamn space. We're not pirates or rock hoppers anymore. We're citizens of the belt.
Come on.
And we have to start acting like members of a society that obeys the rule of law, not like the animals that the Inners have always portrayed us to be.
I don't like him either. But in this, he's not wrong.
This door will be open for one shift. If anyone has any contraband in their possession, they have until then to put it in here with no repercussion. After that,
Anyone caught dealing will be thrown in the brig, court-martialed, and sent back to Sirius for incarceration on a prison barge. Those are our captain's orders.
Trying to undermine her authority.
Now spread the word.
Here he goes. Oh, has anything actually passed through the belt before? Not the belt, the ring. The ring is a belt, though. Yeah.
I think maybe I was wrong about you.
Wow.
It's gonna be waiting for you when you get back.
He's like reaching out for them. This guy.
50 kilos.
you think this act of mercy makes us better? This is not who we are.
Is it who we should be?
Who do you think we are? Who do you think we should be?
I agree with the captain.
I admire your loyalty, but I don't believe you. So why is Naomi Nagata here with us now?
Time for the belt to stand up. If not now, maybe never.
Perhaps you should explain that to Drama. She needs to hear it from someone she trusts.
The show is suggesting to us that Drummer might not be the leader that we want or need. Oh, she has to go back.
Jesus. What in God's name have you been doing?
I have to do this.
No, you don't.
What the heck? Oh, he... Something makes me feel like they're not just here to document. Going through the ring.
Maneo! Yo!
Well, shit. Damn. Pure and clean.
Lose yourself a piece at a time.
What?
Just comes.
Say what? Miller? It's in his head? It's in the proto-molecule. The little bit of proto-molecule they didn't burn. It had Miller in it, and it's communicating through the... Oh. What the heck? Alright guys, this show is just so good. This is a start of a new book, and yet it feels like it's already so fascinating and so much fun to watch. So much has changed. I really love that. Like, first we got a small jump forward in time where we see like Christian is in charge, which, yay. I kind of wanted to see her get rid of Gillis, but he resigns off screen. It would have been fun to see a coup, but I guess that's not the story the writers wanted to tell at this point. But seeing her in charge will be great. I'm sure she'll play a very important role going forward. And I trust her to do the right thing in most situations, though I don't know what kind of situations there are going to be going forward. They still don't have a sample of the protomolecule, I think. I'm pretty sure. But hopefully she'll work together with the Belt and with Mars to go forward, because the flying proto-squid molecule thing has become the Ring, which I immediately thought was a portal or a gate. But, I mean, there's no confirmation of that. We'll find out soon enough. And then we get Manuelo Espinosa on the... I said YQ at first, and then I'm like, oh, this is Spanish, right? So Ike? I don't know. Possibly. And we see him doing the slingshot maneuver and not getting as much coverage as he wants or deserves because of the Ring. And then we skip forward for 7 months. That's really, really fun. And I was anticipating some new characters, and Maneo was just very, very fun to watch. He's like hating on the Ring, and I thought he might be around for a while. Like, he definitely would have brought a new feel to the show. And then like 7 months later, that scene with him just like riding parallel to Saturn's rings was just phenomenal. Like, that was so gorgeous, and just can't wait till our society is capable of doing that. Maybe that's beyond my lifetime probably. But yeah, even after that, he doesn't get the attention. Instead, he sees James Holden on the news going to the Ring, and yeah, like, because of his job, Espinosa Maneo's job, he wasn't around enough, so his girlfriend cheated on him with his Baratna, and also decided to leave him for the Baratna, and that really hurts. And the music in that scene was great. I'm all alone. It was just belter version of All By Myself. Really, really interesting, really fun. And I mean, his relationship with his girlfriend didn't seem like the best, but he decides to go through the ring to impress her and win her back. Freaking slingshots his way around towards it, like, and then hard freaking stop right when he gets to the ring. I feel like that huge change in momentum would have crushed the ship, but this is the proto-molecule we're talking about. Instead, he gets crushed. It's more proto-molecule freakery. But yeah, like from racing speed to sudden stop, and his body like just falls apart. Incredible imagery, and they just let us stew in it for a while. That was really, really, really compelling. But yeah, meanwhile, we've got a lot of other things going on. Gunny and Alex have a fun interaction where she tells him they are deserving of the ship, of the Rocinante, even if the rest of Mars doesn't agree. And I'm glad for her that she gets to go back to being a Martian Marine, but I'm also curious about what happened to the people in charge who wanted to get this proto-molecule, like Project Caliban, who were involved in Project Caliban. Are they, have they been kicked out? Have they been discharged, or what? Are they in jail? Yeah, so she's back with the Marines, which is not something I anticipated, but I'm happy for her. But I'm also sad because I loved having the character around. I'm sure she'll make her way back onto the show in some way eventually, and it'll be a very sweet reunion, I'm sure. But yeah, she's become too much of a important character in the fabric of this universe, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing her again at some point. Speaking of highly anticipated reunions, Prax is gone, and Amos, I'm sure he misses him, and I really hope that at some point, probably not during this season, but somewhere down the line, where they get to meet up again. Amos gets to see May growing up a little bit more, and I don't know if it's in the books, but if it's not, somebody in the show just add scenes where they reunite at some point, please. He's my best friend in the whole world. But yeah, Amos isn't the rebuilding type, and Prax is off rebuilding Ganymede, so they were separated. Maybe they'll need his botany skills for something. Maybe do a flyby after their ship gets damaged to repair the Prax panels. Yeah, I really miss Prax and May, but it is time. Their story doesn't intersect at this moment anymore. But yeah, speaking of the gate before, if I'm right, or the ring, if I'm right and it is a gate, it's either not open yet, or it's a one-way gate, or it can be switched on and off. And I really hope it's not open yet, because if the Rossi gets to go through it and explore other solar systems, other galaxies, there's like limitless storytelling that can be done. And yeah, if it's the gate of an invading force, though, it would make sense for it to switch on and off depending on the force's needs. But yeah, I really want them to go through it and be able to explore everywhere else. And we also have some new characters aboard the Rocinante. Monica and her camera guy, who is like using some really interesting tech to control the camera. It's like infused in his body, like implanted inside him, and it looks like he's blind as well. Like his eyes are the color of just people who have gone blind, and he never really looks anybody in the eye, even when he's like looking at when he's sensing the Prax panels. He's just like looking across, like trying to feel it almost. So maybe he gets maybe he gets to see through the documentary camera. That would be really interesting. I don't know what their technology is like in the future. And yeah, it's really fascinating. Apparently Mars is still trying to get the Rocinante back from them, even though they saved Mars. And Monica's company is paying for all the crew's legal fees so they can have access, they can have access to the ship. And them to do this documentary. And from the start, I'm just like, are these guys just here for the documentary, or are they also here to spy in a sense? Like, do they have an ulterior, another agenda? And sure enough, camera guy is doing something pretty suspicious at the end of the episode, though it just could be more of the documentary, and we don't know yet. But yeah, suspicious to start with. And I love how both of them are trying to sleep with Amos, because surely he's more chatty after sex, right? But he says he doesn't shit where he eats. The guy was just like, you live on a ship. But I don't shit in the canteen. Okay. But yeah, they dig up all kinds of stuff to try to get them uncomfortable. Like, they get a lot of background information to try to make the crew uncomfortable and unbalanced. We find out that Amos Burton was the name of a mob boss in Baltimore, and that's not actually Amos's name. And Amos took his name. And I think I theorized sometime in the past few episodes that Amos isn't actually his name, but I don't actually know what it is. I forgot what it was that tipped me off. I don't know if any of you guys remember. But yeah, that's a really fun dynamic on board the ship with the documentary people. And then finally, as far as new characters go, we have Melba Coe, who is working with some engineers, and they mention James Holden. One of them shows her a picture and asks her if she likes what she sees, but she denies it real hard. I wouldn't rub on him with your junk. Kind of made me think in that moment that they're totally gonna get together, but that's before we see her plant a bomb on the ship they're supposed to be repairing, and then she's found out. And then when she's found out, she bites something in her. I don't know if it's a pill in her cheek or if it's something else, and it activates something in her that's supposed to. I don't know. She becomes super strong and for like momentarily because she passes out right after. Picks up the guy, throws him around like it's nothing. So yeah, that feeling I originally had about her and Holden possibly being a thing, that just went out the window completely. I take that back 100%. Because yeah, they're just too diametrically opposed. Holden would never. I mean, unless she pretends to be someone she's not, which I assume she's already doing. Anyway, yeah, I feel like the only way he sleeps with her is if she tricks him into doing it with some undercover stuff, pretending to be someone she isn't. The actress looks like mixed Southeast Asian and white, I think. Could be totally wrong. But yeah, I feel like Holden would not be on board for any of the things she did. Murdering that engineer who's an innocent, blowing up whatever they're on. It'll be interesting to see. So now I feel like she's being genuine when she doesn't like James Holden, and not just, I don't know. But curious to see what their relationship will be like. Meanwhile, Naomi has taken off and is on the frickin' Behemoth. Again, wonderful name. And they're saying it's like the single greatest ship in the system. That is not something I saw coming, though it makes sense. The Nauvoo was humongous. And yeah, Naomi's speaking that Belter language now, and because she's among the Belters, which is super fun to see. I still understand it for the most part, but it's just like very, very different and a lot of fun. For a few moments, I thought Naomi was second in command, but I guess that would have been too big of a role to give to her right away, given that she hasn't been hasn't been in the chain of command of Fred Johnson and Drummer for like at all. But she's a chief engineer and she's very qualified for that role, so I'm glad that's what she's doing. Yeah, but they actually bring in Ashford to become first officer, and he brings along Diogo. Oh, this freaking guy. He's so ridiculous. I mean, I missed him, or I guess more accurately, I missed rolling my eyes at him. But yeah, Ashford worked for Dawes, and now he has to put on this face of doing things correctly, now that they're going to be equal partners of Earth and Mars. And he seems like, at first he seems like he'll try to defer to Drummer, but actually he's just trying to get more power little by little. Like right now, even like he's presenting to Naomi like, oh, you should tell Drummer to that it's time for the Belters to stand up. Like she needs to hear it from somebody who she trusts. And it all seems like he's doing it in service of the belt, but there are several times where he completely undermines Drummer in public. I mean, Drummer was going to space the supplier, but instead Ashford convinces her not to. He's just like, can we speak for a minute? Can we speak for right now? He's like, in a minute. I love her freaking accent. It's amazing. But yeah, undermines her authority in front of everybody. And I mean, Naomi is right. Ashford is right. If they want to be seen as more than the savage Belters, they need to not act like they did in the past, spacing every goddamn Belter who do something. That was my very poor attempt at a Belter accent. And then she says they have like 24 hours to put any contraband in the airlock. And I know she's about to say that the consequences for finding them with anything afterwards would be spacing them. But Ashford interjects and gives a more muted message of imprisonment and all that, undermining her authority for the second time in like a minute. So this is a bad situation. I feel like he's going to be in charge sooner or later, and I'm not looking forward to that. I don't know if it will be the result of a coup or what, but I thought earlier on last season that Drummer would be a great leader for the belt, but that was the old belt. Like, this is the new one. What she can and can't do is completely different now. And I would argue that she can still be a great leader, but she just needs to consult people from time to time. Not Ashford, because he can't be trusted, but like, look to Naomi. Because Fred Johnson didn't listen. Didn't like consult with her and just decided to start working with Anderson Dawes and like told him about the proto-molecule. And that pissed her off so much. So like, don't repeat that mistake and just listen to the people around you who you trust. Though it's possible. It's also the situation where she doesn't know who she can trust. There aren't a lot of people she can trust without question, because Dawes was capable of turning her own people against her. And Naomi, as much as we, the audience, trust her and her judgment, is just coming back after being on the Canterbury and being on the Rocinante. So it's a rough situation for Drummer. But I do want to see her succeed. And then the ending. The frickin' ending. It's Miller time. And okay, I immediately jumped to it's the proto-molecule. But then when I was editing, I was like, could Holden have just gone crazy and is like seeing things? But that's definitely not the case. It's definitely a proto-molecule, because Miller never brought his hat with him when he left Ceres. And in this vision that Holden saw, he was wearing the hat. So it's definitely the proto-molecule showing Holden things. But now Holden might think he's going crazy, but that's another story entirely. I don't know what this means. But what does I just bit the inside of my cheek. But what does the proto-molecule have to gain by showing Miller to Holden? Is it trying to manipulate him? Or is it actually Miller trying to talk to Holden? Does this mean we get to see Julie at some point again too, possibly? That would be very interesting. I still miss her every day. Every day. Anyway, guys, very, very solid episode. I'm going to give this a 9. Just fascinating imagery, especially with Mineo Espinosa. That was just great. And yeah, thank you guys over on Patreon again for supporting me. It really, really helps out this channel. I would not be able to continue doing this without you guys. Or I would have to do this at a very... That's annoying. I would have to do this at a very, very part-time schedule. Maybe like 1 video a week, which would just take forever for this channel to grow. And I'm really looking forward to this channel growing so that I can do more content. Maybe even pay an editor so I can just get all this content out as much as possible. But yeah, thank you guys over on Patreon so much. You guys, everybody else, leave a like. Really helps out this channel. And yeah, if you want to see the full reaction, you can check out Patreon in the link in the description below. We're also 1 week ahead of YouTube over there. And yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time.